Hi, this is Jane Schroeder from Fiery Interviews with my special guest,
Elisabeth Cooper.
I've met Elisabeth a couple of times now. She really leads worship with her husband Daniel.
Yes.
So you want to tell us a little bit about your worship and your passion and
Yeah. So we lead worship. We're very spontaneous, prophetic. We just kind of do like ascension worship. We are very big into just what is on the heart of the Lord in this moment, in this time, in this space, that we're in. And so we really want to enter into that wherever we are. It's just about connecting with his heart, really connecting with his heart, and what does he have to say? What is he feeling? Just being in that oneness, that kavah that we talk about, just that entanglement into who he is and what he does and how he moves. And that's really what drives us, it's just being one with him in the moment, in our worship.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how long have you been playing together, you and Daniel?
We've been playing together, I think 9 years. He always knows the dates and I don't know the dates, but I think it's 9 years, and then we've been married for 7.
Whoa.
So we started playing together for a couple years, we're really good friends, and then I decided, if I'm gonna keep a good drummer around, I better marry him.
That is brilliant, and he is an amazing drummer.
He is.
And when you see them worshiping together, you can see the absolute synergy.
Yeah.
That they're playing in the same space in beyond the veil, in the places in the kingdom realm,
Yeah.
and the sound coming through them both together as oneness. We talk a lot about in him we live and move and have our being. Absolutely. But these guys really, the synergy together when they're playing is amazing.
Yeah.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about some of your very favourite worship sets that you've done?
Oh, my very favorite worship
And what were
sets.
they about?
I'm really a big driver for me is the justice of God. Because the justice of God, and I sing this all the time, the justice of God makes the wrong things right. It makes the dark things light. And so I love that governmental place. I love that governmental thing where you see the wrong things made right. We are legislating through our worship, like this morning, what happened, and it's just, to me, and healing, and healing is the justice of God. It is making the wrong things right. It's bringing everything into order. It's bringing the chaos into order. And so I would say that is my most favorite place, is where we come into just that, the heart of God right in that place, and we see the fruit of that, and then I was talking to someone just recently, and they said, is this your favorite kind of worship to do? This kind of like, justice, warrior, governmental, and I said, yeah, but also I love just loving Jesus.
Yeah.
I love those places where, and that is governmental,
Yeah, it is.
and that is, and so we often put a certain sound or a certain, we go a certain place and it sounds a certain way, and we slap a label on that, and we go, okay, that's the justice, that's the government, that's the warrior. Well, you know what? The lovers are the warriors.
That's right.
And so I love the places where we're just loving Jesus, and he's just loving us. I love the bridal paradigm type of places where we go in, where it's just like, it's the oneness, it's the communion, and I love communion. I love taking communion. I'm big on taking communion. I sung about communion this morning. I wrote that song about communion. It's like I love the bread and the wine. I love the body and the blood. So those are some of my favorite places. I don't know if I can remember a specific worship set. There's just been so many. I mean, I've been leading worship for 17 years.
Wow,
there's been a lot of worship sets,
yeah.
But I can say, my favorite moments are just the moments where we're just so connected to him. We're so connected to him, and when corporately there's an engagement, you know, there's an engagement and an understanding of what we're doing, you know, and the spontaneous realms that we're going into, and just uniting with his heart in those places. So, yeah.
It's interesting because I notice you play like multiple instruments.
Yeah.
During your worship set, you've got guitar, keys, different types of crazy drums.
Yeah, crazy
What
drum.
was that?
The oudou.
The oudou.
Yes, the oudou with boom. Yeah, it's
That
just,
sound is incredible.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And you know, and I believe in the power of sound and frequency and utilizing those things. And you know, we need to diversify in our worship. And
we do, definitely.
you know, because heaven is diverse. And so, you know, heaven has all these sounds, and how do we replicate them? You know, when we hear these certain sounds, and there's times where it's like I hear these sounds and it's like I have nothing to replicate, and so then I search for things to replicate
a sound.
And I've used things just like random things out of the kitchen. Like, I mean, I've found something that's like, oh, that sounds like this, I'm gonna just put this in my arsenal, you know, so I can bring it with me and, you know, play it when I need to. So
wow,
yeah.
It is incredible. It is very unusual, the sound that you do bring. It is unusual, and the way it all dovetails together and the sounds come out. But it's very evident you and Daniel, very, very passionate about what you're bringing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of drum sound. It's loud.
It's loud.
Heaven's really loud.
It's really loud.
And yeah, it is. Yes, it is. And that's the only way I could describe it. The first time Elisabeth led a worship set for a school that I was out here, and I just was blown away. I was like, where's that sound coming from? Is that angelic? Is that, as well as them playing and singing together, where's that sound from?
Yeah.
It was just so unusual.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah.
You know, I've been into quite a few places in the Kingdom realm, and that's probably the nearest I've heard anyone. Maybe Ray Hughes, some of the sounds he brings.
Oh, interesting.
But those sounds of like heavenly places and places I've been in the Kingdom realm.
Wow.
I was blown away. I was like, who is that lady? I want to meet her.
Yeah, and that's interesting because, you know, we've been at this I've been at this for so long that sometimes I feel like what I'm doing is old.
Oh no.
You know, and so and I'm always pushing for the new, you know, but and you and I have talked about this a little in the last couple of days, you know, going out so far, and then, you know, and so I'm in that place of like, okay, I need to not feel like this is so old that I leave it and now I'm all the way off into another thing now, you know, and so there is that balance of things, but sometimes I do, and I think that's, you know, and you know this, I think it's like the forerunner in me, just like, okay,
definitely.
What's next, what's more, what's happening, and there's always more, you know, to the Kingdom realms, there's always more to the sounds of his heart. I'm just blown away by the sounds of his heart.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, like what his heart sounds like when you're just, and Darren laughs at me, but like when I say I'm sloshing around, and it's like I'm hearing the sloshing. You know, I'm in there, and his heart is like a rhythm, and I'm like being sloshed around by this rhythm with the sounds of those chambers.
Oh, it's amazing.
You know, it's just, and so yeah.
Many years ago, Jill Austin, she had a CD out called Visitation.
Yeah,
and it was just like the heartbeat in the background.
Yes.
But some of the sounds on that, I remember thinking, I feel like I really am in God's heart.
Yeah, yeah.
And it is a completely different sound, but in a way it's a similar thing.
Yeah, yeah.
That you're in the heart, and it is all about the heart, isn't it?
It is.
It's all about our heart.
Absolutely.
It's incredible.
It is.
So where can people listen to your music and sound and...
Yeah, you know, I'm working on that.
Yeah.
But
YouTube?
I am putting some stuff on YouTube. There's a couple of clips on YouTube. I have what I've called the Journey, and that is it's actually a worship subscription. So people can subscribe to that, and then I release a worship set a month that I do live in the studio.
Come on.
And so I go in there, and most of the time I've had like a theme, like the Lord will give me a theme. I think the first one was the banqueting table, And, you know, I just went into the studio, and for, you know, an hour or so, I just played and
Beautiful.
sang what I saw about the banqueting table and that realm of that place. And so that's kind of what I do. And so you can hear, you know, you can join the journey, and then YouTube, and I'm trying to add stuff all the time. So
Yeah.
we're working
And
on
places that you've played, like Seattle Revival
it.
Centre.
Yeah, they stream.
They
so-
stream it, so you can listen to it on YouTube. You must listen to it. It is just incredible. And we were talking this morning about, you know, people ask, are you seeing what you're playing? But I loved what you said, explain.
Yeah, because sometimes I do see, and most of the time, it's very interesting. Most of the time, I am seeing something. I may not see the full picture, but I'm seeing something. I'm also sensing, and I'm also hearing. And so it's these things together that give me the understanding of what's happening, you know, where we are. And like I said, I loved what you said this morning about where we were and how you saw that, because that was a fuller picture than I had. While I knew we were legislating, I knew we were in a court, I didn't have the full picture that you saw. And so it's like, yes, I was seeing things, absolutely, but it was a different picture. It was but that's normally how it works with me. It's partially I'm seeing, partially I'm sensing, partially I'm hearing. You know, and hearing with my natural ears I can hear, but also hearing with my heart. And a lot of times that's what happens. And I explained to someone this morning, I said, you know, the only way I know how to explain what happens, aside from seeing, sensing, feeling, is I feel like there is just this conduit, my heart, his heart, and it's just I'm in this like vortex, I'm in this like channel or this portal, and it's just conduit, you know. I'm a conduit for what's there,
Beautiful.
you know.
Wow.
So
That's so beautiful. And it talks, doesn't it, about the eyes of our understanding. We function through our heart, through the eyes of our understanding.
Amen.
And I just love that. I love it. So guys, check Elisabeth out and Daniel. She's on Instagram, YouTube. Have a good look at Seattle Revival Centre. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Jane.
It's great getting to know you. We've had a great time.
We've had an awesome time.
And
So
bless
awesome.
you.
Yeah, you too.